Is that a new shirt? I love it.
Oh, it's my solemnly swear one.
Oh,
And
I
then
love
it
it. I
is
love it.
reversible. Okay, so we
Oh,
should
I
be
love
live.
it. Yay!
Let me pull up and see if it showed up here.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thanks.
See if it showed up here. Yep. Okay.
Oh, yep. I see us.
Okay, so let me pull up both here. Will, are you ready?
I am ready.
So what did you end up rating it
A
overall?
3. Oh, should we say what we're doing, I guess, really quick? Start us off. Go ahead, Hannah.
So we are discussing Again But Better by Christine Riccio. She is a booktuber here, if you don't know. I'm guessing if you're already on this platform, you know that she is a booktuber turned author now. And this is our book club book for this month. Our next book club book is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So that is
Wait,
what
Shadow
we're going to be
and
reading
Bone
next.
or Shadow and Bardugo?
Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. So that is what we are reading for next month if you want to join us. What did you end up rating Again But Better?
I ended up rating it a 3 out of 5 stars.
Okay. I think I ended up giving it like a 3.75 out of 5.
I'm sorry, a what? You're breaking up.
I ended up giving it a 3.75 out of 5 stars.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you really enjoyed it.
I did, and I get the complaints of it,
Yeah.
but I think it's geared towards a certain audience.
Oh, 100%.
And I think, yeah. So, and I think it's like not a very dominant audience, or I guess not a very vocal audience, because there's not many people like speaking out about like, I see myself in this book, but I think that's something, I don't know. I enjoyed it for that. So Haley said she rated it 3.75.
Yeah. Maybe I'll move it to like a 3.5. Like Goodreads, I gave it a 3. Like I rated it a 3 on Goodreads, but I think I could up it to like a 3.5.
So my big kicker is that this is geared towards those um, late bloomers
And booktubers.
and you don't see it, and booktubers. It is, but it's geared towards bookish people just in general, because there's a lot of references in here, and it's geared towards those late bloomers of people who didn't fit in high school, or didn't like, they just had a different path than the normal childhood in high school. So it's like, I don't know, I can appreciate that for the representation, because not everybody like grew up having sex in high school and having a million relationships, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think that's the biggest complaint that I've seen about this book, is that it felt immature for the age range.
But you see that. There are so many people who are 25, 30, not married yet, never had a relationship. So that part didn't bother me. I think it was just the chaotic writing.
Okay, because she writes how she speaks.
Yeah, but it was like endearing at certain points, because I could. So if I didn't adore Christine and watch her videos, then I probably would not have kept going, just because the writing is so just all over the place, but in a good way, because it really, I mean, if you watch Christine's videos, so you know it's just really her. So, but if I didn't watch BookTube, and if I wasn't a booktuber, and if I didn't know her or, you know, didn't enjoy watching her videos. And I could understand why people had a problem with the book, because she makes so many great little references about like the YouTube community and the booktube community that I feel like you wouldn't have gotten it if you weren't in it, you know?
Yeah. So first off, I want to say I apologize if I don't respond right away because there's some serious lag on my end.
Yes. Is there really? You're
Yeah,
like
like,
just a pixel here.
well, mine is like you'll talk and I can hear you, and then I see it all happen afterwards. So I apologize now if I don't respond right
Oh
away.
no. Okay, that's all right.
Um,
Bless
I
you.
think that. Oh gosh.
You okay?
Yes. Okay. Trevor just yelled to stop dying.
Oh, okay.
Very
Yes.
helpful. Yeah.
Yes. Please, please.
So I think that the writing was different for me, but I actually didn't mind it because it read so quickly for me.
Oh my God,
And I
yes.
think like because I could hear her train of thought and the way that she is very chaotic, like I also have that in my brain. I don't
Mhm.
speak like that, but you're reading it from first person. So I think people talk more eloquently than they think. So I think if she would have been speaking like perfectly put together and not anxious, like out of her element, I think it would have been a little ingenuine or
Mhm.
disgenuine. So I really like I flew through this book because of the writing style,
Yeah.
and I understand that that's like first person's hard to write and for people to read. I think people because they're not used to reading it, it's harder for them to like accept it, and so they're more picky with that type of style.
Mhm.
Uh, but I like enjoyed it, and what I really liked about her choosing first person is that when we got to see her blog entries and when we got to see her writing and doing that, we got to have more world development and got to see other points of view, and I think that was really smart of her to be able to put that in there so we didn't have just first person.
I agree. I actually adored the mixed media, like the postcards. We got a little bit of instant message with Facebook. Um, what else? I think she had text messaging in there as well.
Mhm.
I think she had emails, I want to say, as
Yeah.
well. And then her journal entries. So, yeah. Oh, and then her blog posts.
I think it would have been cool if that was actually printed in the book, like kind of how we get with Illuminate with mixed media. If we would have seen like the screen of the phone or something in the book, or like the emails, or like see the blog, like the internet site or something, and read the
Mhm.
blog posts, I think that would have been really cool.
That would have been really cool. Yeah, gotten more like actual but I wonder if that's not something that Christine can do. I wonder if that's more of a publishing thing. Like the way they, you know, make it look like on the page.
Yeah, well, I mean, she got published by Wednesday Books, which is a pretty big publishing company, but it may just be like they didn't want to take that risk with a debut author.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because like I'm wondering if it's sort of a publishing thing, how the book is put together and stuff. Because she didn't get to choose her cover either.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think she did. I think she made a video on what they asked her what she wanted, and she like got to put some input, but she like did not get to choose her cover or anything like that.
I actually really
So
like the cover.
I do too. I think I really like it. I remember watching one of her videos, and she said she wanted a color that was simple enough, or a cover that was simple enough to where you could like draw it like Pictionary, and like someone could guess what the cover is.
That's very
So
specific.
what?
That's very specific.
Yeah, no, I know. I watched one of her videos and she mentioned that about book covers. So yeah, I actually really like the book cover as well. So
So I kind of went into this a little bit different than how I usually write my reviews. So I kind of made like a pros and cons type of list, and I did like good and bad things that I liked about the book.
yeah, so mine is quotes actually. I highlighted it. So I actually I have the physical copy, but I also have the e-arc of it from NetGalley. So I highlighted so much, and I actually I did more like most of my notes are on quotes, which is yeah.
So I did have, for one of my bad things was the choppy sentences.
Yeah.
It does pull you out of it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that she was so quirky. I think
Yes.
that fits in very well with like the nerd population. Like,
Yeah. Like skipping down the grocery aisle.
yes, yeah. Um, when I was reading this and I got to like that midway point, I was like, how are we already at this point? Because I didn't expect the twist. Like I knew it was about doing it over, but I was not expecting like the way they did the twist.
Yeah, so I thought doing it over was literally was her going to London and doing it
Yes, me
over.
too.
So when we jumped forward to 2017, I was like, wait, what the heck is going on? I was like, no, I'm not okay with that. So, and then I thought they were just going to do it over in 2017. Like, I thought she was like going to just decide not do her residency and pick up from where they left off. I had no idea. And actually, I have a question for you on that because that's one of your biggest gripes in books is time travel. So, what do you think? Do you feel like they did it justice?
Yes,
Like, they didn't necessarily go back to the future?
I am so pleased the way that they did it.
Or I guess because she wrote it.
Yes, well, the whole like publishing like of the book. But yeah, I'm so
Right.
pleased with how the book did time travel because that is one of my biggest pet peeves, if not my biggest pet peeve in books, is
Yeah.
time travel done poorly.
Yes.
And what I love about this is that she made it easy. Like she definitely like went this route to make it easy on herself because it instead of it turning into a time travel book, she just has it as an aspect of time travel, which I think is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
So with them transferring consciousnesses in the same body, that relieves and helps out all of the different cliches of time travel, like
You don't have
running into
two people.
yes. So I like that it's both of them, that it's Pilot and whatever. I want to say Christine, but it's not Christine. What's her name?
Shane.
Shane. Yes. So I like that it's Shane and Pilot going back in time. Instead of just one person trying to figure this out. And I like that they kind of like are fighting back and forth about what they want to do with their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that it's the consciousness and not two Shanes in the same universe running into each other, and then it just turns too cliche and cheesy. So I really like the way that it was done, and I was surprised that I liked it so much.
Yeah, I actually thought it was done really well too. Like it, like you said, it kept it simple and it kept it from any plot holes.
Yes.
So I really liked that aspect. I also liked how her synopsis was also, I think that's also another thing that she didn't get to choose was her synopsis. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think she got to choose her synopsis either. So whoever did the synopsis, I think did a really good job because they didn't like, it wasn't, the twist was nice. Like we weren't expecting it. So it was just like, she wants to do it over again, like throw in a little bit of magic and you've got like the perfect story, you know?
Yes.
So I really enjoyed that. I thought they did it really well.
Did you
Yeah.
think that the rest of the plot, besides that one twist, was predictable?
Well, obviously, I figured that they'd end up together in the end, and I figured she'd become a writer and he'd become a musician. So I thought it was, but it's a YA contemporary. Like, I mean, I honestly probably would have been pissed if it didn't follow, like if it wasn't predictable. So I was like, we went through all of that because actually at one point, when she finally starts to really invest time in her internship and she like stands up to her parents, her and Pilot kind of
Yeah.
fizzle out for a little bit. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I wasn't sure how I thought about it because I was like, well, I guess I enjoy the fact that she's putting more effort into herself. But then I'm kind of like, wait a second, but like the whole point was for both of them to go back. Well, I guess they both had aspects that they wanted to change in their lives anyways. Like not necessarily just be together, but like, I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
I think that aspect of it, I was surprised in that kind of direction that they were taking, and I didn't call that. Like I was surprised with that, and I didn't know how I felt about that either. Like I liked that the message that she was sending was, I'm going back to fix my life, not going back so I can be with a boy. And I liked that. But I thought that she was gonna bring some type of more knowledge or more like maturity with her back then, that she could have both.
I
And
thought
it
she
felt,
really did.
yeah, but I mean, when she went back and when she was like, well, I can only do work, I'm choosing work over you. Like,
Oh,
she didn't realize that she could balance both if she just prioritized correctly. And
yeah.
so I was like, I thought that she should have been a little bit more mature to be able to figure that out, or to have conversations with him about, I need to really do this, I can't be doing this. And
Mm-hmm.
instead, I don't know, I have mixed things about the maturity growth, because you can definitely feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But in that particular scene, you're like, we're going back to 2013 again about not being able to like handle your shit. Like, you've
Yeah.
gone through med school, you've gone through all of this of juggling your life, and now all of a sudden you can't juggle your life going back in time.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
actually true. But maybe
But
it's because she had never been in a relationship that she actually cared about. Because she like jumped into a relationship with someone who like didn't seem like they really had any passion. So when she finally got one, she's like, her mindset is back to, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
No, I agree with you. I agree with you though.
so that part did kind of like irritate me, but I think it was very predictable in a lot of the things. Like, I called the fairy godmother trope from like the beginning.
Oh, me
After
too.
after we saw her in the Starbucks thing, and I was like, okay, this is where this is going.
Yeah,
I just didn't
100%.
think it would follow it as cliche like as they did with
Uh-huh.
like, I wasn't expecting the button, like that whole thing of like having to find the button type of thing.
That was really interesting. I liked that too. Yeah. There was another one. Oh, okay. I also like, speaking of cliches, I like how she made fun of book cliches. I don't know if you caught on to that, but she
Yes.
was like, at one point she wrote, oh, she goes, I expel the giant breath I've been very aware of holding for the past
Yes.
30 seconds. I was like, yes, I love that. And then, oh, she also wrote, I'm biting my lip while he's talking like a young adult book cliche.
Uh-huh. I know, I love those.
I
Like,
like those a lot.
yeah, I like that we are reading something from a reader and you can tell, like, especially the nods to that era about her reading like Vampire Academy and
Yeah.
reading like Cassie Clare books. And I was like, I actually really enjoyed those things, because people can read those anytime. It's not like music is a little harder for me.
Yeah, music, yeah. I loved when she's in like the bookstore and she's holding Prisoner of Azkaban because that's my favorite book. And I love that she does that and she's I don't know. I just thought it was really sweet.
This is kind
Yeah.
of a side off road here, but did you know that she lives in Scotland? I didn't know any of that was written in Scotland. I thought it was all in London for J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
I had not a clue that. I thought it was in London. And I was like reading this and I was like, what?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Did you know the thing about the Harry Potter, like leaving notes in Harry Potter books?
I did not know that, but I did know that it was written in Scotland.
Now I want to go check out all my used bookstores and look through Harry Potter books.
I wonder if it's a London thing. Do you think they just do that in
Oh.
England? No, I don't know. I had no idea.
Um, some of the other things, I like that a lot of the chapters are song titles or lyrics.
Is that what they are?
if you look through them, I like caught on. I was like not all of them, I don't think, or I didn't catch all of them, but a lot of them have.
That's why they're so cheesy. That was another thing I had a problem with. I was like, God, these titles are so cheesy. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I love that. Okay, that's great because yeah, they were really, really cheesy, and I was having trouble getting past the book chapters.
So like and it's all like 90s era, 2000s era type of songs.
Yeah.
Like in the lyrics. So Haley says, with it taking place in 2011, I was an avid reader at that time. I really wasn't either. I was like there's a chapter called Broken Dreams, which is a song.
Oh. I wonder if she had to get like permission to do that.
No, because it's not like, I mean, you can't coin those words.
Yeah, I guess it's not copywritten or anything like that. That's true. Oh, speaking of another cliche so I'm actually very impressed. I didn't think that there were that many cliches in the book. Like, we had the godmother one, which when you're dealing with fairy tales and magic, you can't avoid. Every single book is going to have some sort of little cliche. The whole boyfriend has a girlfriend thing, though, that docked it so much for me. I was like, there were so many other ways to go around it, like just her being insecure with herself and not wanting to be together. Or I know I mentioned, like, if she had done maybe like a male romance or a female romance, a lot of it could have been the main character like not wanting to come out versus the other character wanting to come out, and now they're going to go back in time and redo it because they want to be together, and they like that. But I think the book could have gone exactly the same way without him having a girlfriend, just because the premise of the story is just her being immature, well, not immature, but inexperienced with like relationships and being outgoing and stuff. And I think that we didn't need him to have a girlfriend to create even more drama and conflict.
So I think
Bye, Haley.
that bye. Hope you have a good night. I think I would have loved it being a female romance and that being the conflict, but I think she would have gotten crucified for writing a LGBT book with her not falling in that category, at least us knowingly. Her from what she portrays, anyways. I think that because of her status and because she's not, it wouldn't be own voices, people would have gotten really pissed about that. But I think for the storyline, it would be good.
Yeah, that's true. I could see people doing that. Granted, I'm not familiar with a lot of the authors. I'm, to be honest, but like Becky Albertalli, I don't know if she is, or
I think she might be, but I'm not positive.
Or Red, White, and Royal Blue. I don't know much about that author either.
She is.
She is as well. Okay, so they have more like experience to put into their book.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
And so I thought it was interesting that Shane was made to be likable when she was not supposed to be the likable character in that scenario.
Yeah. Well, I kind of love that she kind of, so I'm like, I feel like it was just too close to Anna and the French Kiss. Studying Abroad.
Yeah. Yep.
I had problems with that. Studying Abroad, the boy having a girlfriend, like
with her not putting in that twist, it would have been exactly the same. But I felt that exact same way of it being way too close, and it was reminding me of it until that twist, and then it changed the tone of the story for me.
Correct. And and I get like for him, it was kind of his big conflict, even though it's in first person and we don't really get too much of Pilot's point of view. But his big thing was parents were getting through a divorce. He was having trouble with change. So he stayed with this person. And like his big thing was just like kind of letting go. But I think there were other ways to go about it. He didn't have to. Cheating did not need to be involved in this book at all.
So I think,
Granted, he never really cheated, but he, like, I don't know, he emotionally, I guess. I don't know. I would not be happy with, like, Kevin trying to kiss another girl on the dance floor.
yeah. So
So to me, that's cheating.
I think they could have gotten just a little bit different. I think, and I'm fine with him having a girlfriend and him being conflicted and his feelings changing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all of that's fine, but I'm mad at the fact that Shane was aware of that.
Yeah.
And she was like, he has a girlfriend, what am I doing? But then she kept doing the things. So, like, I didn't like that she was aware that she shouldn't be doing it, but then it outweighed how much she had a crush on him versus what was morally right. And
That's true.
that's where I had my biggest problem of it was she didn't, she wasn't, she should have had like that. She had that pullback of being like, I shouldn't be doing this. And then she still did it.
Yeah.
So I
Which,
wish we would have seen her trying to move past it because he has a girlfriend and then like having that stop there.
correct. But it also shows tremendous character growth because when they go back in time, she's like, nothing is happening until you break up with her.
Yeah.
So it,
Yeah, but it's still like, I don't know. At that point, it already left a sour taste in my mouth that I was like, she is kind of a shitty person.
yeah,
Like,
a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like her way better than Anna. She's a way better likable character than Anna from Anna and the French Kiss. I will say that though.
yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
yeah. But even at one point, she wrote in her journal, she was like, I'm only 70% positive that he has a girlfriend. So
Yeah, but then she got confirmed, and then it was like she was still having that, like, well, he has a girlfriend, I shouldn't be doing this, and then she like would still be flirting with him, and I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck are you doing? Like, I was
Yeah.
real irritated.
But the second that his girlfriend came down, she kind of stopped it.
Yeah, because it's like you're not gonna do it in front of it. Like, I don't know. That
That's
still was like, nah.
yeah.
And the fact that okay, so when the journal scene happened, what were your thoughts? Do you know what journal scene I'm
Um,
talking about?
if I were the girl like Amy, I would have left his ass. Like they're not married. Like they've literally been dating for, he said, like a month, right? He said, we've been dating for 1 month. And then he tried to break up with her. And she was like, no, I don't want to break up. So, and he hadn't seen her in over like, so I think they were together for a total of 3 months. And she didn't see him for a total of 2 because she came down after spring break or something like that. So I think she came down in like March or April, and they stopped seeing each other in January, and they had only been dating for 1 month. So I would have like I would have left his ass. Like, what are you doing? Like it's not like you've been dating for like 2 years and you have like a whole future with that. Like, like,
Yeah.
come on, 30 days and then you haven't seen him in like 60 days and then he comes down and he's posting pictures of another girl and like, really?
So I think like the way that they could have done the twist with that, since it was such a short relationship beforehand, I think a better twist would have been that they had been together for 2 years or something like that in high school, and
Mm-hmm.
she was his support system when his family was going through all of this turmoil, and that's why he was having such a hard time letting go. But he
Yeah.
had other feelings, so that would have shown the conflict of him like wanting to stay with her
Yeah.
versus going with Shane. Like, I think that would have shown him more moral character versus being like, well, I've only been with her for 3 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen? Like, you just sound like an asshole like that. But if
Yeah.
you're like, I don't want to break this off because this person has been so pivotal in my life and been there for me, I feel like I can't do that to her, then that would have been totally different tone.
Yeah. Versus, and then there's also a difference between like not necessarily wanting to be with someone anymore romantically, but you still have that like emotional attachment to because
Yes.
they've been in your life for so long that they're
Yeah.
important. So yeah, that's an interesting point. But yeah, I was really pissed about that. But I'm actually kind of glad she did. Are you okay that she didn't tell him? Because she comes back, he's like, you don't write in journals anymore. She's like, yeah. Sometime in 2011, someone wrote it, like read my like journal.
I think like yeah, I'm kind of glad that she didn't say anything because it like shows like maturity on her part a little bit.
Agreed.
So do you
Agreed.
think like Shane was pissed when she found out that this girl read her diary, right?
I was
Who do you think was in the right? Or do you think they're neither one of them were?
trying to think of what I would do.
You would read the journal.
100%. Yeah, I actually would. I would have read it.
Same. It's like if you I,
Yeah.
I just found it like a little ridiculous that Shane was so mad that this girl had read her journal when you are messing around with her boyfriend. Like, who should really be more mad here? Like, come
Yeah.
on.
I okay, if I knew what it was, I would have read it. Just like she said, she was like, I didn't mean to, I didn't know what it was, but then I like saw the first, like I saw something about him and then I had to continue on. So I probably would have done the same thing. Like I wouldn't have like actively gone into her room looking like for
Right.
her journal or anything like that. But yeah, I think if it had fallen into my lap, because
Right.
things magically open, right? But yeah, if it had been like an accident, like if I had found someone's journal and been like, oh shoot, this is someone's work, like, it happens. And you're like, who is it? Like you find someone's wallet, you're like, who does this
Yeah.
belong to? You have to open it to see. And then you like find a post about your boyfriend. Yeah, I would have continued on. I would have read it.
Yeah, especially if you already had like
Suspicion.
questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be like, and I just thought it was just kind of ridiculous that she was like, how dare this woman? I'm like, how dare you? You're being shady as shit too. Like,
Yeah.
whoosh, pot calling the kettle black there.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't like that, like, the way that they handled the cheating thing too was it was not a big deal. Like, that was just kind of glossed over, and I
At
didn't
least they
like
never kissed.
what?
At least they never actually like physically kissed.
Yes. Yeah. Um, I mentioned that I liked the playlists that we hear different playlists. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed those, like, music
Mhm.
songs on there. Oh, I said I like how Pilot addresses how his behavior affected Amy for years later, even when things um, weren't going.
Mhm. Like
Uh,
going well.
yeah, and then trust is hard to build back. So I liked that aspect when we jumped into the future that he talks about like I really messed her up afterwards and I had to like build up this trust and it was never quite the same. I like that we got to see those repercussions of
Yeah.
his actions. So I did like that play into it.
I agree. 100%. Um
Because that's not really talked about in books too much about how hard trust is to come back. But like people say that, but we don't see the turmoil behind that and what else can cause that and how it affects the other person. So I
yeah.
really liked that that was talked about because that's real and we don't really see that in books too much.
Yeah. 100%. I liked that a lot. I also liked seeing her internship stuff. Um like when when they were like telling her to like go get stuff at the post office and like I don't know if that's what an intern is supposed to do, but I was like, what the fuck? Like, go get me lunch. I'd be like, bitch, go get it yourself.
I think that is what interns do though.
Really? I don't know. I've never been an intern, so I don't know. But
Well,
like,
that's at least all of the cliches. So there's got to be
but
some truth.
I've been a student, and like that is definitely not like I could understand like looking to pick something out for the office. I can understand um mailing things because that's all like job, but like I think there's a difference between being an intern for the magazine and being someone's personal assistant and getting them lunch. Unless they were like, hey, if I buy you lunch, would you mind going to get me lunch?
I don't know. I can see it though. Like
You can?
buying for the office.
Oh God, not unless they buy me lunch too. Like, yeah.
Well, I don't think she had to personally buy it. I think she was just the errand person, like
No,
going up lunch.
correct. But if someone was like, hey, I'll give you free lunch if you go pick it up, I'd be like, okay. But if someone's like, hey, go get me a salad, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. I think there's a difference between, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I did not like that at all. But I mean, once again, I thought it's not a problem with the book. Like, just that situation. Like, I felt so bad for Shane. Because you're right. I guess maybe that does happen.
I also so what did you think about her relationship with her parents?
I'm actually kind of mad that they were in the picture at the end. So I feel like I know they want what's best for her, but the way they did it and calling her names, like my dad would never call me that. I don't know. Maybe some especially since it sounds like it's hard because she doesn't talk about them having a bad relationship. So if they have a bad relationship, which some parents and children do, cussing could be a norm. But the way she makes it sound is like they're really close. They say, I love you. Like they have a good relationship. So the fact that he yelled at her in the restaurant and called her a little shit, I was like, oh my, I did not think that was okay. I felt like that's borderline emotionally abusive. And she's she's trying to make her way. And then they show up at the very end when she is a successful author. It just sounds like they're basically just there to be like, yep, that's my daughter. She's a student. She's a doctor. Oh, and now she's a New York Times bestseller author.
I know.
You know?
I
kind of wish that they had never, I kind of wish that the relationship had still been a little rocky because it was just, I don't know, it cleaned up too quickly, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think all of it, I don't know if I like the bad twist, that the parents were unhealthy. I don't know. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think, and this falls into a stereotype as well, but I'm thinking Gilmore Girls type of thing of kids who are not socially active are going to be spending more time at home, so you're going to have a closer relationship with your parents. And I understand wanting to make your parents proud and whatnot, but also wouldn't that also make your relationship with your parents better too? It wouldn't be as unhealthy as their relationship was, because I put parents' relationship was unhealthy and not diving in deeper with her dad. I think it needed that of, I shouldn't be treated like this. I am an adult and I'm a person type of thing. And I think I didn't like that she just flopped over. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
So that really, really bothered me. And I didn't like that they were so supportive and so close and that they were able to cut her off the way that they did.
Yeah. It didn't make sense to me at all. I just didn't no.
If she didn't have a close relationship, if she wasn't friends with her parents, then it would be one thing of constantly trying to make her parents happy. But you're right, they did, they talked about how they had this good relationship with their family, and then all of a sudden one thing went wrong and now she's dead to them, and it's what?
Yeah.
That escalated quickly. And you're right, the fact that they came back at the end and then was okay, now I'm here. It's we should have at least seen them working on it.
Yeah.
Or her having that realization of when they're going to be a doctor, that she wasn't happy, and then her parents realized that she wasn't happy, and then they had a discussion or something like that.
Yeah.
All of it was not a good situation.
No, not at all. Not at all. And yeah. So, I mean, and there are definitely parents out there that like push their kids to do other things. So I don't know. I feel so I kind of like I didn't have a problem with that. I just had a problem with like it was just so hot and cold. It just didn't seem like I don't know. She seemed so unhappy, but yet she would go home every weekend to spend time with her parents. So like I didn't understand. And then when she finally gets back home and then she goes to medical school, she mentions how like she doesn't really talk to her parents anymore. Um, so I don't see what the difference was. Like, what's the difference between like, I guess this is just her being happy now. Now that she's happy, her parents come back in the picture and she's like, okay, like I forgive you. Or like what happened between the first 2011 and 2017 of her actually becoming a doctor and then them not being close to 2011 to 2017, her becoming an author. And then all of a sudden, like they're making a speech at like her award ceremony or something. Like I wonder what happened in between.
Yeah, we needed more development with that relationship.
Yeah. Or they could have just been like, it's still my parents and I were still rocky, but we're trying to make our relationship better. You know, just left it like that. Like it could have been very easily fixed or like very easily just to be like, yeah, we're just it's
more
just
realistic.
yeah, we're working on it. Granted, a lot happens in 7 years. A lot happens in 7 years.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish we would have seen a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the parents needed that growth in the book. But they just went from point A to point B.
Agreed.
Real quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that we got to see different traveling things. We got to see her go to different
Yes.
countries. I loved that aspect.
Yes, I think Christine did such a great job with like research and like where things were and like I loved seeing that. I really did. I like the history and the different sightseeing and stuff. I thought that was fantastic.
So I have one thing that I want to like wrap this up with.
Yeah.
And that is, do you think Christine can write another character that isn't like Christine?
Yes.
Really?
I think she did this completely on purpose. Cause like her blog name is Watermelon French Watermelon 19. Like it's exactly her YouTube. Like it's a country, a fruit, and a number.
Yeah. So there's definitely like nods to her online life, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
I want to believe that she can write another character without this voice, but I'm very hesitant because it was so much Christine. So it's like, I think if she wrote in second person, she would be able to, because I think the other characters were well written and they had different voices.
Mm-hmm.
But if she would ever write in first person again, I think it would be hard not to put Christine there.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we have a comment. Someone asked, how did you guys feel about the pop culture references? Some people found them annoying. So we kind of mentioned that a little bit. We said that the music bothered us the most, but the books didn't. Like all the references to Harry Potter and Cassie Clare, those were okay.
I did like the music though, like because I listen to the music, that music now, so it's like I'm stuck into the 2000s, so I appreciated the music, but usually that bothers me. There was a lot. I will give you that. Like I've looked at reviews of being like every other page is a reminder of us being in 2011.
Yeah,
and I'm like, she did mention it a lot, and she kind of shoved it down our throats with that, but I didn't mind it too much.
It wasn't, I mean, some people are I'm not a huge like music person. Like I love music, but I'm not like, I am not savvy in music at all. So it was a little annoying to me, but then again, someone who loves music, you know, especially like Christine, like it meant a lot to her to put it in her book. So that's just more of a personal preference, not necessarily a gripe towards the book.
Yeah, and I was a little worried that because she's a very big Taylor Swift fan, and I like Taylor Swift, but I'm not like T Swift.
It, yeah.
And I was a little worried that that was going to be like all over this book, and that would kind of kill it for me. And she did mention it like once, maybe, but it was very thin line, and I appreciated that it was like that. Also, I really like the Beatles, so I also really liked that part of it too.
Yeah. And I also really like, I love TV shows. I love TV shows. So the fact that she like talked about Lost, I was like, oh my God, I love it. I love it. I don't know. I think she was able to use artists, whether it's music, authors, all of that. I love that she, and TV shows that I don't feel will ever lose significance. So I feel like Taylor Swift, she's gotten to the point where she's pretty big. Everyone tends to like her.
Yeah,
Beatles, that's, classic. Harry Potter, things like that. So I remember when we were doing What If It's Us, and there was like all of the references to Hamilton, and you're like, that's gonna die out, quickly.
Yeah.
Versus, I don't think these pop cultures is gonna die out as quickly. I don't feel like it's gonna date the book as much.
And I think the way that the book was on her side with this too, because it was from 2011. We've already seen that these things have stayed popular for this long, so that also helps in her favor too.
Correct.
That it did come out then, and she can see what's so popular now and is able to place that in that time and make it still be like able to be referenced today with people getting it.
Yeah. What did you think about them starting a YouTube channel? And she was like, oh, we can redo Wrecking Ball.
Oh my God, I lost it during this part. I thought this was so funny. And I was like, oh my God, they actually uploaded it. Like, that was how much I was in the book, was I was like, they just messed up Miley Cyrus.
I know. But then she was like, no, we'll just tweak it. We won't like steal it.
And I was like, I don't know how that's really going to play over. Like,
I thought it was so interesting because I was like, technically it hasn't happened yet, so they're not really stealing it, but they kind of are. I
thought it was funny. I
loved it.
I wish they would have done like one of his songs though. Like, that's the one that they would upload. I didn't like that they like uploaded the Wrecking Ball. I liked that they were joking about it, and I wish they would have like also recorded one of his songs, and that was one uploaded.
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I loved that scene. Yeah. Gosh, there was a lot. I think this was like a really good, solid start, like a good debut novel.
I think this got way more hate than necessary.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I went into it with very low expectations because all I saw were like 2-star, 1-star reviews, and I'm like, holy shit, how bad is this book? And then like it's not that I don't like, I get it, but it's a very specific audience, and if you don't relate to that, you're dissing it. And I'm like, but there's people like this, so you have to like keep that in mind of like, this is good for that audience. If it's not your audience, then you shouldn't be hating on it so bad. It's not like it was written poorly.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing. So like when I first started it, once again, now the titles make sense. I was like, oh my God, these titles are so cheesy. And then the writing style, I was like, oh my God, it's so immature. I was like, no. I'm like, I started it and I was like, oh no, I don't think I'm gonna like this book at all. But then once I got like 50 pages in, and I got to know Shane's character, and I really started seeing like all of these fun like, holding my breath that I knew I was holding, and biting my lip, like a classic cliche, protagonist and stuff. Like I started just like really enjoying, and then we like got her blogger name. I was like, okay, this is fantastic. Like I really see Christine on the page. But I think that she'll be able, like, her plot is good. I think she has good character development. I think she could probably come out with something like, I'd like to see her do something completely different, like not YA contemporary. I'd like to see her maybe do like maybe adult fiction or like a little bit of fantasy, maybe a little sci-fi, or like maybe not like a fluffy contemporary.
I think she does Fluffy well. I really liked her characters. I think she wrote Pilot really well. And
Yeah.
I'm intrigued because like I feel like she could write book boyfriends well.
Yeah.
And so I'm like looking forward to that. So I'm definitely going to pick up the next thing that she writes,
Oh
but
yeah.
I'm also very hesitant about the main character's voice.
Yeah. I think maybe if she writes in third person.
That would be interesting. Yeah. I just don't know if she would be able to do first person again without it sounding like either Christine / Shane, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I
I like
will.
that the embossed is like
Oh,
the Barnes and Noble edition is
it's so
French
cute.
toast,
Yeah.
and then the Target or like the regular edition
Is
is
watermelon.
yeah.
Yeah. I love, yeah. I think, were you like, were you thinking that maybe her writing was going to be a little more sophisticated because she's
No.
read so much? Well, she
No.
has a college degree in like media and, well, no, she has a college degree. I don't think it's in English. I think it's in like media, like
It's
communications and media.
yeah, it's something with like directing or something.
Yeah. Granted, when you read as much YA as she does, I mean, you write what you know and you write
Yeah.
what you read and you write what you like. So there's writing style and sophistication level. There's a huge difference between YA and adult.
And I
100%.
think like she is older, but I don't know. Didn't surprise me because she is our age. She's like 27, 28
Yeah.
in that
Right.
range, but her core audience is under high school or just getting out of high school.
That's
So
very
it's
true.
like you're writing for your audience, you
That's
know?
true. That's true. Yeah. But I don't know. I loved that it was in college. I adored it.
Like you've got to take a look at like Rick Riordan. He how
Oh,
old he
right.
is compared to like what his voice in for like Percy Jackson. It's like they make like dumb jokes that you think like that shouldn't match up,
That's
but
true. It's middle grade.
yeah, exactly.
That's very true. Very, very true. And actually, I was rereading some of like Harry Potter, and it started out as, I guess, middle grade, young adult. And her first book, her writing got so much more sophisticated from the first when you're reading it as an 11-year-old to, or they're 13, to the seventh, where it gets really dark and it's more, much more for an older audience. And now we're 17 years old. So we can follow the sophistication, the language a lot more than, really quick sentences of what's going on.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah, I think overall, like, I'm glad that I read this book, but I would not blanket statement recommend this to everybody. I think it's for a very certain audience.
I think if you enjoy Christine's videos, if you want to support her, even if you want to like support her, like even if I didn't enjoy it, I still bought it because I want to support her, you know? But I think if you watch YouTube, you watch BookTube, you read a lot of YA, and you like Christine, I actually think you might enjoy it, you know?
Yeah, and that one, like, you felt like the oddball in high school and not fitting in
Yeah.
or not having a lot of relationships. I think you will be able to picture yourself in this book.
Yeah. It's kind of a combination between Fangirl and Anna and the French Kiss.
I can see that because she kind of has that stunted growth as well
Correct.
in Fangirl.
Yeah, I mean, granted she's 18, not 20, but there's not that much of a difference.
Yeah.
But like Kath is young, she's in college, it's her first time, and intimacy is like a huge, it's scary.
Yeah.
So, also, did you read the acknowledgments?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
her one for her sister made me laugh. I read the acknowledgments before I read the book, and
really?
I laughed out loud when I read the one to Olivia, and she was like, "Thank you for this is like the first book or second book or something that you've ever finished. I hope you're reading this after you've read this book."
Yeah. I adored her acknowledgments. I just thought they were so sweet. I was like, oh, like, I don't know. I thought it was so sweet.
Do you have any last parting words?
I don't think so. I think I went through. Oh, okay. The part where she kept hitting.
Oh, yes.
Did you ever watch Friends?
Yes.
Okay, did you ever watch the episode where Joey's girlfriend hits him?
Yes.
And then he like shows up and he's like wearing a whole bunch of sweaters. I don't know. I just love that where like she keeps hitting him and like it's a cutesy flirtation. And I
Oh,
just I thought, what?
totally.
And I thought of Friends. I love that. I thought it was so funny. I wrote that down. I was like, oh my gosh, this reminds me of the episode where Joey has a girlfriend that hits him.
Well, and I do that too. Like, that's just a natural thing. I'm like, I swat at people.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's very relatable.
Yeah. And I think my last thing that I did notice was I noticed one little plot hole was when they're in Paris and she wakes up in the morning and she's not wearing makeup and she's like freaking out. Like they're sharing the hotel room and she's like, why? Like, what am I going to do when I wake up in the morning? Weren't they all sharing a hotel room in Rome? Like when they went the first time with Babe and Sarah and Pilot, like
No, they were.
she forgets about her purse and she's literally putting on her makeup and Pilot wakes up. They like shared one hotel room. I don't know. It's like I just thought it was funny. Like,
Well, like anytime that she was sharing bed, she would get up early to put on her face.
oh, okay, got it.
And like she would wait until he'd fall asleep and then take off the makeup.
Okay. Cause I was like, didn't they already stay in the same room? Because she's like freaking out about being alone with Pilot. And I'm like, I thought you guys stayed together in Rome with like the two other girls. So I don't know.
Because I remember reading that and being like, wow, that's a lot of high maintenance stuff that I would not be willing to do.
But see, it's funny because that's actually something that like I did. Like,
You went to bed or you like waited until Kevin went to bed and then took off your makeup?
oh no, I mean not now, but like when we first started like our relationship, like I was like, no, you can't come over. I'm not wearing makeup.
Oh my God, I did not do that.
You know?
That is so I'm very low maintenance. I'm like that's
I mean,
too much.
now I don't care as much, but yeah, back in college when we first met, I was 20 and I was like, no, I was self-conscious. And I was like, I didn't want to be seen without makeup on. Now I don't care, but I thought that was interesting because
I think I have like a similar thing of I used to been like you can't see me in like shorts because I haven't shaved my legs. Like I think that might be the closest.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, that
But
yeah,
with
I
makeup,
mean
I was like, I don't care.
it didn't last very long, but when we first started dating, I was like, I always did my makeup every time we hung out.
So like we talked about, our next one is Shadow and Bone. If you want to join us, this will be over on Gabby's channel. Stay tuned for the date that we will have available. And that is it. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye!